So if I just want to take someone on a tour or do a lesson.
That would be fully acceptable, Doctor.
Okay. Hey guys and gals, it's your buddy Drew with Living History's Mysteries and Three-Eyed Raven Productions. You know, we're constantly looking for interesting subjects to do history on, and you guys know I love television and movie history. 2023 is a big year. Several movies came out that we're celebrating big anniversaries for, and the same with television shows. But one television show sticks out above all the rest. 60 years ago, this year, a television show debuted on the BBC over in England. And with a little break here and a little break there, it has continued to, well, regenerate itself for 6 decades. Not only is it the longest running sci-fi show in TV history, but well, in a lot of senses, it's the longest running, reoccurring, continued show in television history, anywhere in the world. I'll tell you what, let's get out of the lab, get over to the dock, and I'll explain things over there. What do you say? Welcome to Dock 1, here on Gallifrey. You know, 60 years ago, this very year, Doctor Who made its debut with some of the corniest special effects. Certain times in certain episodes, if you watch the top of your screen, you can actually see the fingers holding the string that the TARDIS is flying across the screen on. Only a couple times they made that slip up, but it had some of the corniest special effects in the history of entertainment. But for some reason, those corny special effects and the way it's evolved over the last 6 decades has brought back some of the biggest sci-fi lovers, some of the biggest cult followings that there's ever been for a television series. I've been a Whovian for years. I discovered Doctor Who when I was about 20 years old. So for 34 years, I've been a big Whovian, and I have been through some great doctors. My personal favorites, of course, Tennant and Edelson. But my daughter even knows who Doctor Who is, and she knows how big of a fan her daddy is. I'll tell you what, instead of talking through this entire thing, let's take a little trip and take a look at the lure of Doctor Who from the fans, the writers, the editors, etc. Where's my... Well, I'll tell you right off the bat. Now, yes. Hold on. I need to change the polarity of it. There we go. What do you say we take a little trip? Check this out. Let's take a little trip, guys, and find out what the fans think about Doctor Who. Let's check out the cons, and like I said, we're going to listen to some of the writers. We're going to listen to people who have made fan films. We're going to look at the editors, the animators. We're going to find out the lure of Doctor Who, the longest running show in television history.
Doctor Who, the world's longest-running science fiction television series, has been thrilling audiences with exciting adventures in time and space since it first materialized in 1963. A Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey, the Doctor, in his many incarnations, has battled Daleks, Cybermen, Zygons, Bandrels, and been a constant companion to legions of fans around the world. This film examines the fandom of Doctor Who. Conventions, fan clubs, merchandise, fan films, stage shows. It's all here in this dimensionally transcendental Doctor Who documentary. So join us as we explore the love behind Doctor Who.
Come along. I want to see what's behind all this.
My earliest memory of Doctor Who, God, that's almost the easiest question to ask, because I was one of the ones who saw the first episode. Years later, I read that review that said it was one of the most imaginative uses of television to convey the idea of travelling through time ever.
It's just such a great format that you can go anywhere and do anything, not just the Doctor, but the viewer as well. In your own mind, you can travel the length and breadth and depth of the universe.
My earliest memories of Doctor Who are way back in 1966. Tomb of the Cybermen, Evil of the Daleks, it was a great time to get into Doctor Who if you like monsters.
Because the series itself has such charm and interest and such a rich, detailed world, the imagination, that as a small child you had no real choice but to be a fan. It just drew you in episode after episode until you were completely encapsulated by it.
And really, William Hartnell's Doctor and Patrick Troughton's Doctor, they were my childhood heroes, that's what you could say.
The programme made such a tremendous impact on me when I was very young. The first story I saw was Robot with Tom Baker, and from that moment I was able to tap in on the programme's magical charm.
Yeah, my earliest memory of Doctor Who is waiting for our old 405 line television to warm up. I go, I can hear it, but I can't see it.
It's been around for so long. I think there's something very satisfying about something that's existing there in the background for so many people. And they don't necessarily need to tune in, but they need to know that it's there.
People have occasionally asked me, why I'm a Doctor Who fan. I think, am I a Doctor Who fan? I don't know. It's sort of like, I never really thought I was a Doctor Who fan. I thought it was just my native mythology. I felt comfortable with it.
I think it started off as a memory thing for me, because one of the earliest memories for me is being a child and sitting with my brother and watching this show, and you have that ingrained in you as a memory.
It's that question like, why do you like chocolate? Or why do you like watching tennis instead of cricket? You don't know, there's something deep in your psyche clicks you into liking Doctor Who.
I think I've been a Doctor Who fan just about as long as I can remember. Really, my earliest memories of John Pertwee from Carnival of Monsters.
I've just always been into Doctor Who. Always been into it. I don't know why. I mean, I like SciFi. I like Star Trek. I like Stargate. But Doctor Who is the one thing that keeps me, if there's a perennial, it's Doctor Who.
And I think the job of Doctor Who is two jobs. There's that of the craft itself, and there's that of the celebrity.
When I first watched Doctor Who, it was for me a scene where Colin Baker was being dragged into this pit of like hands, and he was like sinking in this quicksand. And I think it's images like that ingrain themselves in your mind.
There's something about the Doctor, because he's kind of like a free spirit, and he's escaping from something. I think that's what appeals to you at an early age. It's about enjoying being an outsider as opposed to really wanting to be on the inside.
My earliest memory though was John Pertwee. That's the earliest one. I think it was the Mega story.
My favorite Doctor is the 5th Doctor, and I have a tattoo to prove it.
Yes, I do have a seal of Hathor. Just there. I've got that one as well, it's my own drop. And I've got these two. My earliest memory of Doctor Who would be sat with my grandparents on a Saturday and Sarah Jane falling over and her face falling off.
It was half term, and I didn't really like Doctor Who at that. I thought it was just some TV show which people talked about. And then I saw it won 2 BAFTAs, and so I said, it must be a good series. So I started watching the Chris Braxton episodes, and I started liking it from there.
The first thing I remember about Doctor Who is the Daleks. This is everything I wanted when I was a child. This is my childhood turned into one solid object.
I started watching Doctor Who from the very first season as a young lad back in 1963-64.
I was a massive fan from 11 years old, and then when I was 14, I met some fellow Doctor Who fans, and we all thought, as was the culture at the time, let's do a fan thing.
I suppose the way that Doctor Who has had the profoundest impact on my life is it provoked me to build a Dalek. And because I built a Dalek, I've kind of ended up doing what I am doing now, editing videos, sound, and doing music and so forth.
I discovered fandom probably around 1975-76. What had happened was that from about 1974, for reasons that I can't fathom, I stopped throwing things away to do with the show.
It started, I suppose, with sending off the little postal order for the Doctor Who fan club magazine. And I think I was expecting something like a Star Trek poster mag to arrive, something that was a rather like what was kind of being put out by the BBC at the time with the 10th anniversary special.
The first convention I ever went to was in 1986, and it was Colin Baker's last season, and I remember sitting in the audience watching the first episode of Mysterious Planet go out live. So that was my first experience of, fan conventions. I'd never been to one before, and it was all sort of exciting and new, and seeing these people in the flesh, so to speak.
My name is John Davis, and I'm barking at some patron saints here.
Hello, my name's Peter, and I've got my autograph balls here from Doctor Who. And as you see, I've got a lot of them here, and my dad's helped me connect these with the letters and stuff.
I try and get up to the Dimensions event in Stockton, which is the friendliest convention around. Love that one. And this is the second time I've been down here to the Invasion event, which again is a nice one-day event with a good variety of guests.
Fans at the convention was it was great. There was everyone was just lovely, but there was I had one girl who came up to me who was who just sort of stared at me for quite a long time, and then told me she was going to go and get into makeup. I had photos taken with her, and yeah, it was just all very surreal.
This is my face, which is not quite as good as the first ones, because we ran out. They should look like that. They should look like that.
The funny thing about going to a convention as a guest and doing a panel, that does feel very odd. Sometimes I sort of feel like a complete fraud, why am I up here? Best experience I ever had as a guest at a convention was one I did in Los Angeles a couple of years ago, and for the entire weekend, I was treated as a celebrity and doing panels with people I'd seen the night before on television.
When I've been to an American convention, I didn't have to queue for very long because I always got the all-access seating at Chicago T.A.R.T.I.S, meaning I get to get the signs first, signatures first.
American fans are different to British fans in that not only do they get enthusiastic about the program in the same way as fans over here do, but they do it without any of the huge inhibitions that I think a lot of people over here get very quite shy about. It's not an affair, really. They get that kind of this motif of the anorak, the sad person, etc., which again is a late 80s, 90s expression. Even the word anorak you never heard much before the late 80s. Whereas the Americans always attack this with this sort of gigantic enthusiasm and this big gung-ho approach that they steam in like children let loose in a play set.
Depending on work, there's been a Doctor Who convention on DVD, on audio tape, all kinds of little spin-off jobs that I'm extremely grateful for.
I did start a journal once, and it was basically Leela's journal. And so I went through each episode with Tom Baker. I'd watch it, and I'd type out kind of like her inner thoughts. So I did that one.
This American fan came up, and he had a complete Sylvester McCoy costume. And it was, "Hey, Alistair, are you going to be doing any signings?" I'm not a celebrity. I'm just an editor. I had a couple of CDs for you to sign. And he opened this box, and there were at least 30 CDs that he wanted me to sign for him. So I did.
Perhaps the nicest I've met was Deborah Watling. She was a true lady and just very fun and very kind to just about everyone that I saw. She's probably my most favorite. The longest I've ever queued for an autograph would be 4 hours.
The longest I had to queue for was probably Paul McGann.
Actually, maybe Paul McGann, and it was at least a couple hours outside.
I think probably the longest I've ever queued to meet a Doctor Who actor was Tom Baker in 1991. Tom Baker up until that point had been very elusive on the convention scene, and I remember myself and some friends went to the crypt of St. Martin's in the Field where Tom Baker was signing a video called Who on Earth is Tom Baker? For me to get there at 9 and to queue until 12 o'clock when the signing started that was probably the longest I stayed waiting, but I have to say, it was well worth the wait.
Hi, I'm Jason. I'm dressed as the 10th Doctor, David Tennant.
Okay, the only Doctor Who character I've dressed up as has been Leela, just because I think she was the most scantily clad. So had to go there. I'd like to go because I really want to see those odd people that sort of dress up in those silly costumes and
I'm often asked whether I've dressed up as my favourite Doctor or companion over the years that I've been a Doctor Who fan. If you've seen me, however, aged 5 in circa 1976, any available dressing gown or long scarf may well have become victim to my Doctor Who games. But that's not to say I don't dress up in private.
Obey me. I am the master.
But it's just interesting to see the detail that people go through to create costumes that are exactly like that on the show.
There are certain types of fans. There are fans who like to watch the episodes and want to get the autographs. There are fans up another class which are go to the conventions as well and really get stuck in.
I first got the idea of doing the Doctor Who cruises back in the 1980s. At the time, I was working an annual convention in Florida called Omnicon. We used to have the Doctor Who guests over every year, and the convention was lots of fun. But my mother, who was working as a travel agent in those days, saw the craziness that we used to go through dealing with the hotel every year. After the third or fourth year of her telling me how much easier the cruise lines are to deal with, I called her bluff and checked it out. Turned out she was pretty much right. And in 1988, we held our first convention on board one of the cruise lines. Our guests of honor were John Nathan Turner, Gary Downey, Sylvester McCoy, and Nick Courtney. Everybody had a fantastic time, and it was absolutely wonderful. About 5 years later, John Nathan Turner called me up and asked if I was doing anything for the 30th anniversary. A little arm twisting, and he managed to talk me into doing another one. So, from an original one-off, it became a second, and then 1996 we did another one, and from then on it became pretty much an annual event. And I have to say, it's been fun every time, and as long as it stays, fun to do, and don't lose too much money in the process, hope to keep doing them.
I'm an avid statue collector, so anything statues, and currently right now we got actually a pretty nice piece of William Hart. One thing that you would buy if people would find them. A talking canine. A full-size version. Not the minis that they've done in a couple of toys, but a full-size version. Radio controlled, speaks, moves the head, spits out the information, talks to you, whole 9 yards, completely interactive, kind of like a Furby but bigger. One thing we get asked for all the time that is not really available now is something to do with TARDIS. You do not have a model of TARDIS. I mean, they have done it in TARDIS, but there's nothing available at the moment. It's either the money box or the phone alert, but we're always getting asked for TARDIS models, replicas, things like that. There's nothing available.
Which actually is a hero version because it actually lights up. Same as the Resurrection of the Tharnans one, that's also a hero version because it lights up. It's on the Tharnan gun. There's only 2 known to be made. No one's currently in the Blackpool exhibition. Except for that. I've also got Colin Baker's trousers and shirt. One of the oldest ones I've got is this is the Lord of Carp dress, Wayne Morbius. I've also got a headdress which also goes one hand from the Twin Dilemma.
Here we have an original Adric costume, and this is Adric who is being converted into a Cyberman. Not quite sure what he did to deserve that, but there you go. On this side we have a whole pile of other costumes from Doctor Who, all sorts of things. They've all got little labels on. I think that's from Caves of Androzani and Creature from the Pit, and all sorts of things. And he's from a story called The Leisure Hive. And this fella here is a Silurian from the story Warriors of the Deep, and unfortunately he is very much the worse for wear, and the latex is completely going, and next, if he falls over, this would just shatter.
Yeah, here we go.
Like that one.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Doctor Who's
Anything else you want to mention that I can pull off the shelf?
Oh my goodness.
Oh look, that's one of the original 60s ones. That's the only one I've got. It's broken, unfortunately, but it's all I've managed to get hold of. That's the original 60s.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's literally full of everything, aren't they?
Just laser etch key rings with a TARDIS in it. It's just kind of a measure of
just how popular Doctor Who is, that everybody is producing something with a Dalek on, with a Doctor on, with a TARDIS on, and it's so iconic that everybody wants to buy into that. It is such an extraordinary phenomenon. I mean, it really is. I mean, there's very little else like it out there. Down here, we have underpants, which are always good for a laugh, breaks the ice at parties.
Oh no! That is just wicked. Dalek slippers, man. That is just
But then,
ultimate.
Then you find something that is so absolutely ludicrous, and it makes you absolutely just scream with laughter.
Oh, that's brilliant. Right, the Who Shop International has been running now for, 22 years. I'm not old enough. And I basically started the business from an idea that was planted by my brother, who went to a convention called Longleat. I then started the business off 1st of December 1984 in a warehouse in Wapping. Here at the Who Shop, we like to look after everybody. We look after the classic fans of the show, and we look after the new fans of the show. Items of props, costumes that were used in the Hartnell times, up to most recently when we picked up a gas mask that was used in the Empty Child in the new season of Doctor Who when it first came back. T-shirts, books, pens, videos, DVDs now, of course. When we opened, of course, everyone was the fantastic genre of the video. Now, of course, we've now changed on to the DVDs, the CD market, just everything you could possibly think of. Autographs, again, from number 1 Doctor right through up to number 10 Doctor. Just absolutely anything and everything the Doctor Who fan would want and need.
This prop gun here is the oldest prop we've got in the shop. It was made for the William Hartnell episode, Galaxy 4. It's only made of painted plywood, bits of coloured sticky tape. But as far as the camera is concerned, it looks absolutely great. Mostly these props are from Doctor Who. There's a couple of exceptions. Mask of Mandragora in the top Hieronymus' mask. There meant to be this crystal from the Green Death just to the side here. And the Hand of Fear itself sitting just in the corner.
In the shop, we actually have a television heritage plate that was John Pertwee's. It was unveiled at the BBC Centre. There's one at the BBC Centre, and there was one specially made that was something that was created specifically for the Doctor. It has never happened before, and hopefully I don't think it's ever going to happen again. And they made 3. They did one for Mr. Hartnell, one for Mr. Troughton, and one for Mr. Pertwee. And we bid, and we were lucky enough to get the John Pertwee one, which I treasure.
Down at the BBC in London, Star Trek fans today staged a rally to return their favourite series to the screens. Here at BBC Leeds, the Who World Order have formed a demonstration in response, and their message is simple. We do not want Star Trek back.
We just came down here today to voice our opinion. We don't want trouble, no nothing. I've got a family, and I don't want them to face a world tomorrow blighted by the Trekkie scourge.
I think the reason particularly Doctor Who fans are quite productive in terms of videos and audios is that we want to get involved in the world of Doctor Who, even though we know it's a TV programme that's made by actors. We love that fictional world, and we want to try and take part in it ourselves by creating our own stories.
So why are we here?
Geographically, this is the same spot we just left, but some 1,300 or so years earlier.
Well, this TARDIS, can it go anywhere at any time?
There's something affecting the TARDIS.
Oh, y'all.
Being a woman is going to mean some changes.
TARDIS line in the house. I must insist on this. You're in great danger, madam.
You mean you weren't always a woman?
Run!
Well, come on. There's no breakout when you see one.
I think my readings of these
His McGutty is similar to yours to the mushroom.
We've made a fan film called T.A.R.T.I.S. and the Daleks. A fan film is basically where, as a complete bunch of amateurs, you get together, have a bit of fun, muck around, and you never know, you might actually make a film out of it as well.
You know, Romana, I can't help thinking there's something distinctly odd about the wildlife of this planet. Yes, I hadn't forgotten about you.
I think what inspired the film was just the love of Doctor Who for a number of people in our group, and the desire to start filming and try and make a film of our own.
A lot of us have a background with sort of role-playing games, writing in general, fantasy fiction, all that sort of thing, a bit of acting, special effects, computer graphics. And really, in retrospect, it's almost sort of inevitable that we ended up making a film.
Or maybe not.
Brother, then it's too numerous. I agree. Romana, we must go. Come on about. Come on.
We have a big collection of fan films, sort of just doing a bit of research on what else was going on. And there seemed to be kind of not too many with a heavy emphasis on action, so that's something we really want to explore and have a go at doing ourselves. And it's a lot of work. There's no two ways about that. It is a lot of work.
It is hard. The actions are the hardest bit. They're the most fun as well.
Absolutely.
And I think all of us, I think none of us are shy of doing the action. None of us are shy of falling down or having a fight or trying different things, different movements, rather than just saying the lines.
Excellent. This is the first project that we've ever worked on. This is the first film we've ever made. And then to suddenly have invites from conventions in America, for example, we want a high quality version so they can show up on the big screen. It's just absolutely awesome. And we've had posters in science fiction magazines as well. You know, the response really has been absolutely extraordinary, really.
People like it.
That's the amazing thing.
Friends having a lot of fun,
Yeah,
a lot of laughs, and people actually like watching it.
All right, I get the point.
The key to time.
The key to time.
The key to time.
The key to time. The key to time.
The key. About 19 years ago, Rusty and I had a lot of fun making this movie, The Two Doctors and the Antimatter Menace. It was a Doctor Who spoof just because we were big Doctor Who fans and we wanted to have some fun making a video of our own. So we got together on a couple of cold March weekends and made this thing. 19 years later, I still have my scarf. We're a little fatter and a little grayer. Rusty, I think, might be able to play the pervy doctor without any flour in his hair this time.
Perhaps not this time.
Okay.
Star Trek versus Doctor Who was a lot of fun because it was largely improvised. We went in with an idea of what we were going to do and then turned up at the location and semi-made it up as we went along. And it was just so wonderfully silly, and that communicated to the filming side of it.
Invested my remaining funds in a one-man show based on my showbiz memories. What about the English autumn, the Scottish standing on parade, trying to salute, and dare I say, nodding dog in the when I I gave them the full works. Tears, laughter, famous friends. Jim lifting weights was no problem, and then he turned round, and we were all wearing eye patches.
Autumn Diaries 2 came from an initial suggestion from Bill Baggs, and it became a lot more ambitious initially when I wrote it. It was practically designed to be filmed in a back garden, and it just flowered until we were taking in the Manchester Museum of Science and Industry, a lot more CGI work in it, and renting a theatre.
I managed to keep myself occupied with a little business venture.
It became from a very simple idea that was based around an interview into this little sort of mini epic.
Dear old Auntie Beeb was making Doctor Who again.
The whole idea behind Possibilities, which was Doctor Who related film, was I've made 4 films before that with a group of friends, actors, and all different experiences. But we met on the Doctor Who holiday, and also I knew that we could get it shown at a convention. It's kind of to up our profile a little bit. So
I thought we'd do a short Doctor Who film. So I wrote the script as a half-hour film and picked up the idea from the TV movie.
There's something terribly wrong here.
Isn't there always?
Yeah, because I was at the time I was in post-production on my feature film Soul Searcher, which was like the most stressful thing I've ever done in my entire life. So many people would say it was entirely sensible to then take on a second directing job, directing a short film on top of that. But for me, directing possibilities was like a little holiday. Well, exactly. I mean, it's always the way. The producer is always the one that has the stress on the movie. And I was producing Soul Searcher myself. Rob was producing Possibilities, so I just got the fun of directing it and editing it, and didn't have to worry about all the organising and getting people together on the same days and whether they'd actually turn up at 6 o'clock in the morning at Ealing Shopping Centre or wherever. We shot over 2 weekends and we had a different crew for each weekend, and they didn't really know anything about Doctor Who, and so I don't know what it must have been like for them trying to understand what the hell was going on, because you can get that building in the background, the fans will recognise that building. They must have thought we were nuts.
Who are you, I wonder?
The Daleks are waiting quietly, black and meditating. Straight to it. Yes, the very first Doctor Who show I did, which was the first time I played the Doctor and did anything like that, was in 1996. And so we did this Doctor Who show called The Planet of Storms, which was all about the terrible Zodian, like creating the terrible Zodian. And it did quite well, but Rob Thrush came to see it, being a local Who fan. So the following year in the summer, he did The Millennium Trap, which was his fan film, which is quite famous now. But Rob said he wanted to do a Fear on stage, and I think, yes, that was the first of the Lost stories we did, so that was in April 2000. And because I think it was one of the Lost stories, we sold out the day we started rehearsing. And then we decided, or he decided, to follow it up with a sequel, which was Fear from the Deep, which we did 2 years later, and that was at the New Theatre Royal. And again, it was very successful. And then when Doctor Who was coming back, obviously for the new series, I was getting excited, and I just decided to put a Doctor Who episode on, and I put on Evil of the Daleks Part 2, which I happened to have on my Dalek early years tape, and I just watched it. I was thinking about what show to do in 2006, because I had one booked for 2005, and I thought, I wonder if we could do Doctor Who again, because it might be nice, because the series is coming back, and blah, 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 so... And I approached the BBC, and they were very helpful, and said, yes, that's fine. That was it. There we were. Evil of the Daleks was on track, and we fixed the date, which was October 2006.
They would not be here if I hadn't opened the way for them.
They couldn't have known the terror they were going to unleash.
They invaded the house, took away my daughter.
But now creatures from a world in a distant future will have the power.
What do you expect? For pity's sake, let me go!
The power to enslave the entire human race.
I am their savior. They will give me what I want.
And only one man has the knowledge to stop them.
Then we should read the script, and then we'll have a quick tea break. We've got time, hopefully we've got. And then we should come back, and there are various things I need to tell you, and then some things to distribute for you in regards to the external presses.
I'm Martin, I'm the composer.
I'm Rosie, I'm playing Victoria.
I'm James, I'm playing Maxwell. I'm John Hall, I'm playing Jamie. I'm Phil, I'm Major Art Terrell, and a climax star. Helping me to produce the show, having the technical side of the show, and I'm being one of the Dalek voices, along with.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm doing the Dalek voices.
Nick Briggs became involved because I met Nick when I did a couple of Big Finish audios when I was working professionally as an actor. It got to a year before the show, it just struck me that I wondered if Nick could come and do the voices for the show, because that would, A, be exciting for us as fans, because he hasn't been in Doctor Who like that with his family, and for him being a Dalek nut and a fan, he'd probably like it as well. So I asked him, and he said, yes, I'd love to. And we sorted out the dates were compatible, and we booked him in. Where is your
story of Waterfield?
My name's John Paul McCran. I'm playing Jamie McCrimmon in Evil of the Daleks.
Where is Victoria Waterfield? What's happened to her? She's a prisoner. Dies.
It's all going well. It's kind of at that exciting stage now where we're just a couple of days away from show week. It's just smoothing out all those last little creases, but I think it's going to be something really quite special. I think it's going to be very exciting, and yeah, we're having a great time doing it.
Welcome back. You know, it's like I said in the beginning. There's something about this show. I can't explain it. I don't understand. All I know is I love it. And for 34 years, I've been a Whovian. And I hope for the next 34 years, it can continue. There's been some great doctors. There's been some that, nah, who knows? But I'm sure over the next 6 decades, there's going to be a lot more good doctors. But that's all I've got for you guys today. I'll tell you what, we're not even going to end it our normal way. We're going to see what else is out there. We'll see you in history.